Pinal County Board of Supervisors meeting of May 7th, 2025. Do we have deputies, please silence your phones. Is Donna here? Oh, here we go. Donna will do a blessing, and then after that, if Supervisor Violetto, close, Vitiello will lead us in the pledge.
Vitiello.
If you all stand and want to participate.
Almighty God, as this group assembles today to discuss important matters, we ask for your guidance and wisdom. You are the source of all knowledge and understanding. Therefore, we seek your direction in the decision-making process. You have taught us to lean not on our own understanding, but to trust in you, God, with all of our hearts. If we submit to your guidance, we will make straight the paths we need to travel. Help us to listen attentively to one another with open hearts and minds. May each individual seek to understand different perspectives and to not be quick to judge or criticize. We pray that you will give this assembly the discernment to make the best decisions for the greater good. We trust that you will guide us on this path and lead us to reach a consensus that reflects your will. May each person's words and actions be guided by your love and grace. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Aaron. I'll call this Board of Supervisors meeting to order. First item on the agenda is County Manager's report.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman. Probably about, maybe it was just before last summer, Supervisor Sturdy and his district administrator, Connie, approached our office and wondered why some of our residents and teens and youth were having to go to Gila County to apply for summer internships to work with that government and get to know them and earn money over the summer. So they asked us to see if this is something that we could do here at Pinal County. And so Joel Millman, our Economic Development Director, created a team along with HR and others to develop a program, and that has come to fruition, and we call it the Learn and Earn Youth Summer Internship Program. If Ms. Kennedy could please just put up a picture we had, or a set of pictures. We hosted, with a lot of work from departments and offices throughout the county, an event on Saturday. Thank you to the chairman for being there to welcome everybody. And Mary Ellen, I understand, gave very good presentations of introductions. We had 77 youth applicants participate in not only getting to know their departments here, but cycling through panel interviews to gain these positions. And there's only 30 internship opportunities. So not everyone at this phase of the program will be able to get a summer internship, but hopefully this will grow over the years to where everybody that has an interest will be able to fill a spot. There were also 70 parents who joined with their youth and not only got to know us better, but also 3 parents submitted their own applications for needs that we have here at the county. So it's definitely a win-win. We had 9 departments who showcased the services, and over 55 of our staff was here to help with the interviews, as well as district administrators from your areas, Tricia for Supervisor McClure, Brandon for Supervisor Miller, and, of course, Connie for Supervisor Sturdy. The overall impression and feedback that we got was that our future is in good hands with this youth, that they're high quality and that they're engaged and we're happy to house them here for the summer. And Supervisor Sturdy might want to make some comments as well, as this was originally inspired from his office.
Yeah, we want to thank staff for coming out on a Saturday, but just looking at that picture there, I can't help but think that there's future leaders and staff members in that audience, and it's great that we've set the groundwork for this, and I think it gets better every year from here on out. So thanks again to everybody.
Great. Okay, well, thank you. I thought it was a great turnout as well. So I think that's an annual thing we should continue to do. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Mr. Surdy. Brings us to item number 2, district updates. Anybody? I'll start with Rich. You have anything? Mr. McClure?
You're quite wow. I'm shocked. Let's see. I don't really have anything going on, but tomorrow night is the Pinal County Police Memorial. Not a celebration, but the memorial going on over at the Sheriff's Department in the parking lot. It starts at 6 to 8 to memorialize the officers that have lost their lives.
Okay. Surdy, you have anything update from your district?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so the Stage 2 fire restrictions did go into effect. So as of right now, even though it's nice out there now and everything's a little bit moist, got to be careful. And probably going to be that way till about September. So everybody be careful with fire.
Supervisor Goodman?
Thank you. This last go-around, the incorporation effort was successful in getting enough signatures that we voted to have it put on the ballot for the August 25th, I believe, right? Is the ballot? Or August 5th? August 5th. Thank you. In addition to that, I have a town hall meeting May 29th at the Central Arizona College from 6 to 7:30. More details to follow in regards to what that's all going to be all about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have nothing from my district at this meeting. So that'll move us on to item number 3, discussion and update for our state and federal legislative. I have nothing to report. Even the CSA, I just got noticed we're not even having our legislative policy meeting this week. So I don't know if that's the calm before the storm or exactly what is going on up at the legislature, but it's been pretty quiet up there. So, but we do have update from Mr. Glover is going to fill in for Dana if he'll come up and present.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. I'm Garrett Glover with the Pinal County Elections Department and Recorder's Office. You sit on the County Supervisors Association, and you mentioned that no longer having the LPC meetings. Same thing from the Arizona Association of Counties. Less LPC meetings. Most of the bills in the legislature are making their final votes. Today is the 115th day of session. Typically, it runs a little over 100 days. So far, 135 bills have been signed by the governor, and 87 bills have been vetoed. This is the second most vetoes in Arizona history, breaking the previous record of last year. So there's a potential that it could break the first place record going forward as the final bills make their way through the process. About 300 to 400 bills get passed a year, and we're at 222. On the election side of things, there was one bill that was signed into law this past few days. It was SB 1581, which made some adjustments to the campaign finance reporting periods. Our office will be emailing all of our active candidates to let them know of the legislative change. And then a election bill that was vetoed was 1375, which would put the voter rolls on the internet. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Garrett? Okay, thank you. I know. Yep. I don't see that either. Okay. Okay, it brings us to item number 4 on the agenda, and the presenter nor the person receiving the presentation don't appear to be here. So I'm going to bypass that. We'll move on to item 5. If they show up, we can come back to it. So item number 5 is a discussion, approval, or disapproval of proclamation declaring the week of May 11th through the 17th, 2025, Economic Development Week in Pinal County. Joel Melman.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity. Economic Development Week was created by the International Economic Development Council in 2016 in order to increase awareness of local programs and services that create jobs, advance career development opportunities, and increase the quality of life in our communities. For your consideration and for the record, the correct proclamation for Economic Development Week has been presented to the clerk and attached to the agenda, and therefore requesting recommended motion is for the board approval on the final Economic Development Proclamation.
Board, have any questions? Board's pleasure.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the final Economic Development Proclamation.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Joel, you want to read it?
Sure, thank you. And just for the record, Joel Millman, Pinal County Economic and Workforce Development Department.
Thank you.
By the Pinal County Board of Supervisors, proclamation, Economic Development Week, May 11th through 17th, 2025. Whereas economic development promotes the well-being and quality of life in our communities by assisting in creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that enhance wealth, stimulate additional economic activity, and provide a stable tax base, and whereas economic development stimulates entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is a hallmark of the American economy, and whereas economic development is conducted in a wide variety of settings, including by governments at the local, county, state, and federal level, chambers of commerce, universities, and other institutions, and it has components of public-private partnerships that support both rural and urban development, workforce development, and tourism. And whereas economic development seeks to grow and diversify the business base in municipalities in order to serve the needs of residents and to help retain local sales tax dollars, which are crucial in providing the services expected by residents. And whereas economic development helps to bring significant business investment, develops vibrant communities, and improves overall quality of life by having jobs located here in Pinal County, enhancing economic well-being and reducing commute times. Now, therefore, we, as the Pinal County Board of Supervisors, hereby proclaim the week of May 11th through May 17th, 2025 as Economic Development Week, and remind individuals of the importance of this community endeavor, which supports expanded career opportunities and makes lives better throughout Pinal County. Proclaim the 7th day of May 2025.
Thank you, Joel. Would you like a photo
Sure.
of this? Okay.
Yeah, I think we got
Because I
some
see
folks.
a lady back there with a
Yeah.
camera.
We'll take it. Thank you.
Put that in there.
Goodman, you're trying to hide right there. There we go. All right, looks great. All right, I will take 3. Okay, all right, count 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me see.
right, everyone. Just on some housekeeping, item 4, we're going to move it to a future agenda item. Mr. Thomas is not in the state, so we would like him to be present when we do that presentation. So, it's not an action item, but I'm just going to have it moved to a date that works for everybody. Thank you. Takes us to item number 6, discussion or approval, disapproval of a proclamation declaring the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 National Public Works Week. Pinal County, Celeste.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm here requesting your support in issuing a proclamation declaring May 18th through May 24th as National Public Works Week in Pinal County. This year marks the 65th annual observance, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. The 2025 theme, Advancing Public Service, People, Purpose, and Passion, perfectly reflects the commitment and dedication of our Public Works team here in the county. To quote a former U.S. Secretary Professional, transportation is the thread that ties our country together. It's the one thing that every American, no matter where they live, relies on every single day. Every day, our public works professionals focus on building, maintaining, and protecting the infrastructure that sustains our communities. From transportation and water systems to public buildings, stormwater management, and airports. These critical functions support public health, safety, and a high quality of life for our residents. Our team includes engineers, operators, inspectors, maintenance crews, accounting, and administrative staff, to name a few, each person contributing to the efficient delivery of essential services, whether in the field or behind the scenes. They embody the people who care, the purpose that drives our mission, and the passion that keeps our county resilient, safe, and thriving. Whether responding to emergencies, maintaining critical systems, managing capital projects, or simply ensuring day-to-day operations run smoothly, our public works professionals serve with humility, dedication, and pride. This proclamation you are considering follows national language urging residents and leaders to recognize these contributions, raise public awareness, and celebrate the professionals who advance the well-being of our communities every day. Thank you for your time and for your continued support of Public Works staff. We hope you'll join us in recognizing this important week and the exceptional people behind the work.
Any questions of Celeste? A request for this proclamation. Board's pleasure.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to go ahead.
No,
You're the man.
you quicker.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I'd like to approve item number 5 as presented, number 6 as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Who would like to read this proclamation to us?
I would like to try that, give it a try. Joe Ortiz, Development Services Managing Director. Appreciate that, Celeste. So I'll do the whereas. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of people in Pinal County, Arizona. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government, and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Pinal County, Arizona, to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2005 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Public Works Public Works Association. Therefore, the Board of Supervisors of Pinal County do hereby designate the week of May 18th through 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. We urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public work professionals, engineers, managers, and employees to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protect our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. Proclaim this 7th day of May, 2025.
Thank you. All right. I'm sure you'd like a photo. And looks like you have some staff back here, right? Great.
Sure.
Everybody come on up.
Yep, going.
Do I have to hold this?
You get to, or the two of you. I don't care who holds it. You can hold it. Don't want me holding it. You got to get in the middle if you hold it.
I get everybody a couple steps this way. I'm losing Goodman over here. Let's see. Come squeeze in a little bit more. Yeah, there you go, Joe. There. I kind of want you in the middle, Celeste, so you got that. If I switch you two, switch you two? Switch you over here. Or either one. Okay, now we got it. Okay, I can see everybody. Okay, all right. Let's get back up here. See, I'm gonna go a little higher, make sure I got everybody. Okay, I'm gonna take 3. 1, 2, 3. Another one, and one more. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. Want me to send this to you?
All right, everyone. Okay. Why don't we shut the back doors? Who left it? I'm down back there. We're moving to item number 7, Purchasing Division Report. Ms. Woods.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Angie Woods, Director of the Office of Budget and Finance. And I have today's May 7th, 2025 Purchasing Division Report, and it's quite short. So in the report, the board is requested to approve one contract award for IFB 254126 Ralston Road Bridge at Baco Road, and I apologize if I, thank you. We're recommending one contract amendment to extend the contract period for RFP 224529 for solid waste consultant. And the report contains one purchase order change order that we're requesting your approval. And that's all I have today. Are there any questions?
Any questions, Ms. Woods? Board's pleasure.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the Purchasing Division report as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. the Board of Supervisors meeting, and we'll move to the Pinal County Public Health Services District Board of Directors meeting. Item 1 is consent. All items indicated by an asterisk will be handled by a single vote as part of the consent agenda unless a board member or county manager's office or a member of the public objects at the time the item is called. Anybody want anything moved off this? Health? Anybody in the audience? Seeing and hearing none. Board's pleasure.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve consent items A through C on the Public Health Services District agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Brings us to item number 10 of the agenda, which is call to the public. I don't have any cards in front of me, but is anybody from the audience like to please come forth? No?
Chairman,
Yes?
before we go to item number 10, if we can adjourn the public health agenda and reconvene the Board of Supervisors meeting.
Oh. I didn't reconvene? No. Sorry about that. Okay. We're going to adjourn the public health meeting and reopen the Board of Supervisors meeting. Now we're official. Okay. I think. Is that good enough? All right. I'm sorry. My mistake.
Yeah, I'm Noel Reck from Eloy. First, I want to encourage my fellow citizens to engage in civic action, to speak before the board as they see fit, regardless of a point of view that may differ from mine. While I take issue with lies and disinformation, I will never criticize anyone for speaking in general. Today, I won't focus on Pope Donald I, Alcatraz, how many pencils or dolls children should have, the $92 million birthday parade, or Trump's uncertainty about following the Constitution. Rather, I'll speak to something close to home that should have no partisan influence, but does. Before the last meeting, I had a contentious conversation with Sheriff Teeple. I bring this to the board and the public's attention as the issue I presented to him remains unaddressed. It's apparent he isn't open to a civil conversation with a constituent who doesn't share his political views, particularly one he perceives as a liberal activist. Being unable to get beyond his caricaturist facade he presents, I ask his attention to this matter in this public forum. I politely waited for the opportunity to introduce myself and ask the same question I asked of him in an email that has gone unanswered for more than a month. The question being, will you steer clear of any association with or any offer of help from the racist, bigoted Federation for American Immigration Reform, of which your mentor, Mark Lamb, is now their law enforcement advisor? His agitated reply, I'll address that when you get up here and say that Mahatma Gandhi was a racist. I'm still at a loss to understand what that has to do with anything. Something twisted about how students are being indoctrinated to see him as a hero when he held racist views. In hindsight, I shouldn't have engaged with him further. The conversation devolved into a rant about President Biden, open borders, invasions, and his disdain for remarks I've made at previous meetings. But today I will take up his challenge. I did the research and found that in 1903, when he lived in South Africa, he did indeed make statements regarding white superiority and black inferiority. Views that changed in short time, culminating in its return to India in 1915 to lead the nonviolent and ultimately successful civil rights and anti-colonial campaign against British rule. I present this despite knowing that in the end it's immaterial to the concerns and questions I raised with him, that the question has nothing to do with me and everything to do with him, FAIR, and the Pinal County Sheriff's Office. That he hasn't done and probably won't do open-minded research on the FAIR organization, and as such may not be able to keep up his end of his own challenge. I hope he'll honor his challenge. A simple internet search will provide a slew of articles to choose from. Transparency, a periodic agenda report from all of the county's departments, particularly its largest, should be the rule of the day. Thank you.
Anyone else like to say a few words, a call to the public?
Roberto Revelis, resident of Gold Canyon. In the spirit of the prayer, listen to one another, and adhering to my key words of truth, transparency, and accountability. I'm glad to consistently be here exercising my freedom of speech regarding public policy issues affecting Pinal County residents, responding to challenges facing public education, housing, health, Social Security, veterans, and the economy, and our nation's original sin of racism. Responding not against a political party, but against the insanity emanating from the convicted felon sitting in the White House. Responding to a lawless president who says, "I don't know," when asked if he has to uphold the Constitution. Yes, Donald Trump, you took an oath to uphold and defend our Constitution. Dialogue that's badly needed as fellow county residents consider the burden of incorporating a major community that faces uncertainty of shared revenues being frozen, of an economy facing a possible recession. These uncertain times call for all elected officers to know and affirm that they indeed have to obey our foundational Constitution, and a time when responsible residents must engage in candid civil dialogue at all public events, school boards, water conservation districts, city councils, state and federal legislators, and especially at our county board of supervisors. Mr. Goodman, in your absence, I asked you some questions, and I look forward to hearing from you on those questions. But we're talking about a time when a president whose big government agents are snatching up residents from American streets, transporting them to foreign imprisonment, deporting citizen children without the semblance of constitutional due process, all to fulfill an insane view against foreigners and certain U.S. citizens. I welcome being criticized for speaking out against the insanity of the convicted felon, and I encourage others to engage in meaningful dialogue. Dialogue needed at a time that our country is preparing a budget, unsure of what federal funds will be available, unsure of the cost of goods as the tariff king promotes insane tariffs against our state's largest trading partners, Canada and Mexico. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. I'll close the call to the public. Your name was mentioned. You have. You want to respond?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to respond on that one because the comment was about in my absence. If you could just email me some of the questions that you're referring to, and I'll be more than happy to respond back to you. Thank you.
All right. It brings us to item number 11. So this is the decision, approval, or disapproval of federal fiscal year 2025 U.S. Department of Housing and Urban. There's Ms. Heather. How are you? You're here to present.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Heather Patel with the Office of Budget and Finance. The item before you today is our annual action plan on how we hope to spend our fiscal year 25 HUD program funds. This would include our CDBG, our home, and ESG, or Emergency Solutions Grant, if we were to be awarded that. I do want to put out a caveat there is that in general, we would get our allocation in March. We have not received that yet, so we do not know how much or if any funds will be passed down to the county for these programs. So we are going through this process because we are required to have something completed by May 15th. So we're going through this process based on last year's allocation. We became an entitled community, our county, back in 2019, and we have to create a 5-year plan on what our goals are for the use of these funds. We are in our second 5-year plan, which is to cover 24 to 28. We have 5 communities that participate in our program, and every year we are required to create this annual action plan. We do have a citizen participation process that we follow, and then, of course, we come before you to get a final approval of the action plan. The estimated funding that we're looking at for CDBG is somewhere between 1.8 and 2. Our home dollars is somewhere between 430 and 650, and ESG is a formula based on the other 2 funding sources, and then they calculate whether we would or would not receive the funds. So at this point, we're just going off of this. We did hold 4 public meetings back in the fall, and then we're having this meeting here today. We accepted applications from our participating communities to propose projects that are specific within their areas. Under the CDBG program, we every project or any project that we do within that program must meet one of the national objectives, and that would serve low-income households or families, address a limited clientele, which could be seniors or some population that has the presumption of a low income. And then a third eligibility item is within a redevelopment area. There is a variety of uses for the CDBG program. These are just a few. Again, any proposed project must go back to one of those national objectives. This is just an overview of what we did with our first 5-year plan, how the money was allocated. Infrastructure like water and sewer was the highest one that the county specifically invested in, followed by our roads and sidewalks. Our communities did take up a large chunk as well for projects within their communities, which mostly was sidewalk and road infrastructure. For our 5-year consolidated plan that we're in right now, this is what we are looking at thus far, having allocated our funds. We are looking at community facilities primarily. We have some parks and, of course, our community projects. Under our home program, this program is specific to be invested into affordable housing options, and that can mean a variety of different things. It could help pay rent. It could help do our owner-occupied housing rehab program, do down payment assistance, a variety of things. Under that program, we are required to provide match, and we are also required to set aside a percentage for a community housing development organization. At this present time, we have one within the county that operates, and it is a branch of Habitat for Humanity. For our first 5-year plan, this is where we invested our funding. And thus far in this 5-year plan, this is what we have invested our funds in. Under the ESG program, Emergency Solutions Grant, this is specific to providing housing opportunities for persons experiencing homelessness. We are required to provide a 1-to-1 match for any funding that we receive. And this would be investing in shelters, providing rental assistance, or providing prevention services, or outreach, which is not up here, sorry. So in the past, we have provided some funding to HOHP for their transitional center. We have also done rapid rehousing, which is a rent-based program. We do have several requirements that we are to provide, and that is technical assistance to anybody who is looking to submit an application. Also provide a grievance policy in case somebody has concerns with our policy and process. And then, of course, we have a citizen participation plan. All of these are available on our website. So the timeline at this point is, like I said, May 15th is when we should have our action plan completed. We would then anticipate receiving agreements in the fall to start in December or January with our projects. But we can't submit our action plan until we have an actual allocation. So you'll see in the agenda item, the request is that once we do receive that allocation, that then the chairman would be able to sign those documents instead of me having to come back and redo this lovely process with you. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair,
Sure.
quick question. Ms. Patel, good morning. And just to, in the past, when we've had grants and so they haven't been funded yet, and the federal government's holding them back, and then we were criticized once for passing the item, even though we didn't have the funds, and oh my gosh, how terrible that is. But we have to do this in order to be able to receive the funds, but also looking at the match here, we don't expend those funds unless the money is funded to us. That's correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we're just approving the process just in case. That's what this is all about.
Yes. So that I'm ready to submit to HUD when they say this is how much you get.
Right.
And I can submit and move our process along.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question on the matching. Is it just dollars, or do we get in kind? Do we get the ability to use in kind services or staff time in that as matching?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. For the home program specifically, with our CHOTO, or that offshoot of Habitat, we do require that they provide their match. So as you know, their program is a self-help, so they also get donations. All of that we can use as our match. So there would be no cash on our side. Under the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, that, generally speaking, is coming from our nonprofits as well. So if we provide funding to them to provide rapid rehousing, they also have match that they can provide for us. So we generally do not have any cash match that we use.
Okay, good.
Excuse me, Chair.
That was my question. Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Heather, for that. But I have a quick question. The homes was from $450 to $650, and we called that affordable. Could you explain that to me a little bit, please, so I understand?
Thank you, Chairman. Supervisor Vitiello. That is actually our awarded amount. It has nothing to do with the home value. Okay. Sorry. The home is the name of the program, so that's how much grant funding we would receive.
Okay. Any other questions for Heather? Well, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody from the public want to comment on this? Sure. Please come forth.
Roberto Reveles, resident of Gold Canyon. And Mr. Chairman, I've actually prepared some remarks, hopefully in a constructive sense of recommending. Having worked in the Congress for 24 years, these things don't just happen in a vacuum. Mr. McClure, you clearly made that observation. And so in that sense, if you'll allow me, I have two specific questions, but in the context of what I hope will be constructive.
Absolutely.
With the failure to disperse federal funds, you continue to properly approve this process. But I'm wanting to suggest that in harmony with the county attorney, you work to contact the members of Congress from Arizona, because they do listen to boards of supervisors. And so I'm hoping that you have taken some steps. If not, I strongly recommend that you and the county attorney approach the members of Congress to encourage them to provide and release these funds, which have been, in my observation, illegally frozen, because it's under the Constitution. Congress provides, authorizes, and designates the spending of these funds. So I strongly encourage you to sort of break out of the mold of the past where we've had cooperation from the members of Congress. In this instance, the issue is so critical to Pinal County, especially as you're preparing your budget. It's a shame that Santan Valley is having to consider incorporation under the insecure sense of will shared revenues be available. So with those in mind, I'd like to ask the question, have you thus far received any assurance that these funds will be allocated?
Okay. We'll let her answer that. Did you have anything else, Roberto?
That's essentially it.
Okay.
So
thank you for those comments.
Thank you, Chairman. No, I have not received any assurances at this point, and I've asked our representative, our local Phoenix office, and there is no response on that.
Well, I think Mr. Ravelas might have a good idea there. So anyway, we'll take that into consideration. Anyone else from the audience like to speak to this before I close the public hearing? Hearing and seeing none, I close the public hearing at this time. So I ask for a motion. Board's pleasure.
Chairman, I motion to approve item 11 as spoken.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Brings us to item number 12. Okay. This is a decision approval or discussion, approval or disapproval of resolution 2025 SUP 006-23. Resolution approving an SUP for Jason Sanks.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. Patrick Zay Roberts, Senior Planner, presenting item 12 for case SUP 006-23. Staff is requesting a date-specific continuance for this item. There is a concern that the applicant is trying to address with a disputing neighbor, and additionally, they're out of town at the moment and unavailable to attend this hearing. We learned this after the notification had already been sent out, so that's why the item was agendized today. Ultimately, staff would request a continuance to the next regular session meeting of May 28th.
All right, real quick. We did advertise a public hearing, so we do have to hold this public hearing. And I believe the rules will allow me to leave it open until a continued date. Do my staff agree with that? Okay. Okay, thank you. Anything else? There's no other part of this presentation. I'll open up the public hearing on this item number 12. Does anybody from the audience want to speak to this item? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to continue to, what was that date?
May
28th?
Chairman?
Yes.
A motion to move item number 12 to continue on May 28th, 2025.
I have a motion.
And can we include that public hearing?
Oh, and that the public hearing will remain open.
And the public hearing will be remained open, yes.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Brings us to item number 13, which is discussion, approval, or disapproval of resolution 2025 SUP 007-23, resolution approving SUP 00723. We have the same presenter.
Vice Chair, members of the board, Patrick Zay Roberts, Senior Planner, presenting case item number 13 for case SCP 0723. This is effectively a companion case to SCP 0623, although on a separate location. And under the same circumstances as SCP 00623, we're requesting a date-specific continuance to May 28th for the regular session.
Okay. In the same scenario, we'll leave the public hearing open. So I'm going to open the public hearing at this time. Does anybody from the public want to speak on this item? Seeing and hearing none. Can I get a motion?
Chairman Miller, I motion to item number 13 to postpone until May 28th with the public hearing. Continue till May 28th and leave open the public hearing.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Item number 14 has a public hearing component, but first it's a discussion, approval, or disapproval of resolution 2025 SUP 016-24, a resolution approving the case of the SUP 016-24. John Moffett.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. Patrick A. Roberts, Senior Planner, presenting case SCP 01624. This is a request for a special use permit to allow a commercial kennel on a property in the SR Suburban Ranch Zoning District. The property is at 39440 North Kennedy Drive in Santan Valley, under parcel 104260400, and the applicant is John Mott. This is a county map showing the location of the property in question in the Santan Valley area. This is a zoning map showing the property abutting the town of Queen Creek to the west and SR properties surrounding in the Country Mini Farms community on Kennedy Drive. This is a vicinity map showing the surrounding context of the property amongst the area in Santan Valley where the site is located. An aerial map showing the property in question. A notification area of the affected neighbors within 1,200 feet of the property. Or I'm sorry, this is a 600-foot radius. An image looking north from the property. South. East, away from the property, and west towards the property. And here are some additional images since the image was largely obstructed by trees. This is a site plan of the existing conditions of the property. The applicant is requesting the commercial kennel use to remain as is, as they're operating today. There's no plans for expansion, and the SCP would simply allow for that use to continue legally. I'm going to gloss over the majority of this slide, but just looking over the Suburban Ranch SR zoning requirements, there are allowances for commercial agricultural uses, which typically also include animal husbandry operations as a point of compatibility for this use with the surrounding neighborhood. The community it largely utilizes rural and agricultural uses in vicinity to this property. So this slide here, we're also going to largely gloss over, except for the bottom portion for SCP development standards, which discuss an SCP authorizes a use to be developed in a particular way as described by the permit and its conditions. An SCP imposes on the applicant the responsibility of ensuring that the authorized special use continues to comply with the conditions of the permit as long as the permit remains valid. And an SCP shall be valid for the duration of the special use, provided the use remains in conformance with the conditions of approval and is not continued or discontinued for 12 consecutive months. The issuance of an SCP does not relieve the applicant from the responsibility of obtaining the site plan approval, a building permit, or any other permit as required by the county. This item, we're simply highlighting the capability of the board and the Planning and Zoning Commission to recommend for SCP approvals on the basis of the development in a design that is encompassed within the site plan, allowing that SCP to be approved in a way that is conductive with the property in question. Some items for consideration. The property is one of 5 similar existing commercial kennels that were proposed before the Planning and Zoning Commission for SCP action during the January 18th, 2024 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The property is located amongst other properties with rural and agricultural uses and animal husbandry operations. The commercial kennel use is existing and does not present an impact to public health, safety, and welfare in this location. The proposed SCP is compliant with the standards of the SR zoning district, which offers commercial kennels as allowable through a special use permit. SCP approval shall make compatible the existing use with the surrounding land uses. The property features improvements to accommodate a kennel use that have been in existence. There's been no change in the 19-year-old operation as proposed on the property. The applicant was proactive in seeking to resolve the code compliance violations of the property as they became apparent. The applicant has identified a business niche and articulable need in their community. And to date, staff has received 19 letters of opposition and 36 letters of support for this case. The letters of opposition for this case discuss the following topics: violation of CC&Rs and HOA directives, civil lawsuits in process, noise and nuisance from barking, the presence of biohazards, the presence of foul odors, presence of horses, Pinal County code compliance actions, complaints filed with Pinal County Animal Control, concerns of the number of dogs on the property, and that the property should be at least 5 acres. The letters of support discuss these following topics: integrity of the applicants, quality property conditions, low visibility business, rural lifestyle compatibility, surrounding more intensive nuisances within the neighborhood, neighboring similar home businesses and promotion of such, low noise issues, odors or nuisances, unfair harassment of applicants, concern of lost property value by infringement, and care for dogs and animals, including health and DNA testing. On March 20th, a public hearing was held at the Planning and Zoning Commission. 4 neighbors spoke in opposition and 6 neighbors spoke in support. And the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval 7-3 of case SCP-01624 with 12 stipulations. And at this point, does the board have any questions of staff?
Any questions of staff?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Roberts, could you back up to the zoning, the RU and SR? There. So, okay, and so this area is SR, or is it?
This
RU?
Property in question is SR zoning.
And so, in SR zoning, is this allowed?
By
an SUP.
There is a caveat on the special use permits that allows it. It's specifically, we call it subcategory O. It's other uses that the Planning and Zoning Commission deems appropriate. It's a category we seldom utilize just because of the broad nature of what that could entail. But ultimately, we opened this item up to the Planning and Zoning Commission back in January 2024 to kind of gauge their opinion on whether this would be an applicable category to utilize for this case. And following that, held the hearing back in March, whereby they approved a recommendation for approval for the special use permit. It is a broad category, but ultimately we elected to utilize this as a means to address a past issue of this property operating for 19 years and trying to come into compliance.
Are there active lawsuits against this property now?
There is a lawsuit in process, as far as we're aware.
Against the property or against
the property owner?
Okay. So, I'm curious. I mean, I know there's a leather shop next door. There's other businesses in the area, and I know the CC&Rs are going to come up, and they probably have. How old is this community? Do you know?
The Country Mini Farms community?
53. So, I'm curious, and the public can answer this, if the CC&R has been updated in.
My understanding is they have not.
They have not. So they'd be out of, they'd be pretty.
Hey!
This is
hey,
not. I'm stating this just so you can comment on this in the public hearing. I'm just bringing up questions that you can then answer. I mean, if this was a koi pond, would this be a problem? So I'm just curious. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Supervisor Surtee?
So we have several of these businesses that have been operating for a long time, and these pups sell for $2,000 to $3,000 a piece. We have several business people up here. Is sales tax collected on these? I mean, there's been hundreds of thousands of dollars made on these over the years. How are they licensed? Does Animal Control check on them? Do they have a cash register every time they sell a pup and they collect this?
My understanding is their website advertises how they collect funds. I would imagine their taxes are in order. As to the licensure, Pinal County Animal Control has not issued any commercial kennels licenses for this property, but the property has been licensed through restoration through American Kennel Club, including inspections.
How could we check to see if sales tax has been collected?
The applicant would be the best party to provide that information.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for staff?
Yeah, Chairman. So this business has been running for 19 years without a kennel license. Correct? And here we are today trying to determine whether this is something that we should approve. And I guess the question is bad behavior approvable? So that's the question I'd like to ask the applicant, because, again, shutting businesses down is not my idea of a good thing. But I don't want to set a precedence for other businesses to think that we can run for 19, 20, whatever the amount of years are. And then the next thing you know, we find out that everybody's going to be standing here before us doing the exact same thing, asking for forgiveness of bad behavior. So I guess that's something we could talk to the applicant about. Thank you.
And the applicant could definitely respond to that, but I would just also add that per what we've heard from the applicant, they were never made aware of the requirement for the kennel licenses in the first place. So that might just be a nuance of this case that might be worth consideration.
But I guess I would have to say, if you're running a business, you probably need some kind of permit or something running a business, a commercial business. So, again, we'll ask the applicant because, again, I wasn't here 19 years ago in their backyard, so I don't know. Thanks.
No, we don't have a requirement for business license. We don't. Any other questions? Are you good, Rich, with your question? Okay.
I have a question. In regards to the radius that you had circled, how many of those neighbors actually complained or in opposition?
None of them.
Okay, so the opposition is farther out?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Is it an applicant's here to present?
They are.
So if there's nothing else from Patrick, will the applicant come forth?
Good morning, Chairman, board members. My name is John Mott. I'm here today with my wife Jenny to respectfully request approval of a special use permit for her Australian Shepherd breeding program. Jenny's a fifth-generation farmer. Her family's deep agricultural roots here in Arizona and even in Pinal County. They still farm and ranch in the area, and breeding animals has been a part of Jenny's life from a young age. Over the past 25-plus years of our marriage, she's continued that tradition by breeding Australian Shepherds, as well as horses, cattle, chickens, anything that can have babies on a farm, she breeds. Raising them, as far as the Australian Shepherds, raising them for our own use and enjoyment and placing them in working homes across the country. Many of the dogs we've raised have gone on to live on farms, ranches, in search and rescue operations, as well as pet homes all over, and we take great pride in the work they do. For nearly 20 years, we've operated our little ranch, Mott Ranch, on our property and country mini farms. We've always done so with respect for the animals and the rural way of life we cherish. We never believed we were doing anything against the rules, and when the county raised concerns, we immediately took action to ensure we were in compliance with all relevant requirements. We first reached out to the Arizona Department of Agriculture, and the head of that department, who also breeds Australian Shepherds but in Maricopa County, was surprised to learn that the county was even making it an issue, to be quite frank. Throughout the process, we've opened our operations to inspection by Animal Care and Control as well as AKC. Everyone who's inspected our operations always complimented us on the cleanliness of our facilities and the well-being of our animals. We take pride in running a responsible, humane breeding program, and this positive feedback reaffirms our commitment to maintaining high standards for the care of our dogs. Since this situation arose, we've worked in good faith to understand and address any concerns the county has, requesting meetings with relevant departments and taking necessary steps to comply with zoning requirements. We'd also like to take this opportunity specifically to thank the county representative, particularly Patrick, who has been great in guiding us through this process, but also the other employees from both Animal Care and Control and Zoning. Overall, our experience working with them has been mostly pleasant, and we've appreciated their support throughout this process. As for me, I was initially unaware of the full scope of my wife's breeding operations. I focused my time on other activities, particularly sports with our boys. We kept our passions separate, which helps create a balanced life and a strong marriage. But as this issue has unfolded and a very small vocal portion of our neighborhood has escalated their concerns, attacking my wife because of my role on our community irrigation management board, I've become more involved and have learned a great deal about her operations. At this time, we're not seeking to expand or alter how we operate. We simply want to continue the responsible breeding practices that she's had in place for nearly 20 years. We love the rural lifestyle we've built, and we hope to continue preserving it for our family, our animals, and future generations. We respectfully ask for your support in approving the special use permit so we can continue to work, continue the work we've always done. So thank you for your time and the opportunity to work with the county representatives throughout this process. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. So I know you had some, and I think someone else did. Let's go ahead and answer. I'll answer the questions.
So it's your presentation. Any questions for the applicant at this time?
So I guess the sales tax question is one that Mr. Surdy asked.
So somebody from Scottsdale drives down, gives you a check for $3,000. Do you then do a TPT deduction? Do you send a check to the state? How does that work?
We do not collect sales tax. We do pay our taxes to the IRS. We file taxes every year with them. My understanding is farm animals are exempt, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to look into it. Never thought of it.
If you go to the mall and you go to the puppy store there, you pay. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's a fair comment. I'm just telling you that on the farm, we've never, any time a farm animal is sold, it's never been done, and we've always viewed this as we're a farm. And again, I met with Supervisor Goodman when this first came up and started this process of getting involved with the county. If we need to fix something else, we will. It's not like we're trying to specifically skirt things. We're just, fifth generation farming family trying to keep farming in Arizona. So,
if I might.
Go ahead.
And more of a comment than actually a question of Mr. Mott, but more of individuals in these neighborhoods also raise and breed horses and train them. Is there a sales tax that is collected on those as well when they sell a horse on a commercial operation, somebody that's raising horses and breeds them? And we have those already in existence in some of these neighborhoods, I know for a fact. So I guess if we're posing the question on that of this particular operation, we should be asking the same question of other farming operations that are out there when it comes to that. What about farmer markets? Whenever they produce their farming, their produce and things of that nature, is there a tax collected at a farming market? If we're going to go down that path, then that's probably it. We need to look at the whole gamut of what the question is.
Now, if I could say one more thing about how much money we make, there's a lot of misinformation, Mr. Surdy, that is not 100% accurate. Yeah, we sell some dogs for $3,000. We sell some for $1,200. There's differences in the dogs and what appeals to people. That same group of people that are telling you the amount we're selling these dogs for are also say we sell 100 dogs a year. We don't. I don't think we've ever had a year where we've had 100 puppies that we've sold. We make a whole lot less than they think we make, and as far as the dogs are concerned, it's only a small portion of the overall farm operations anyway. I mean, we've got I don't want to talk too much about the lawsuit, but I know when they first turned us into the county, the complaint was about an illegal dog and horse breeding operation. Why has the county not said anything about the horse breeding operation? Because I don't know. But it's a losing topic, in my opinion, to go after the horses. That's actually why we specifically called the Department of Agriculture, and he regarding the horses, he said if anyone says anything about the horses, you come directly to us, and we will deal with it ourselves. Our philosophy has always been, I mean, literally, my wife has bred animals her entire life. It's part of who she is as a farmer in Arizona. It's part of, she grew up in Gilbert, but we've lived here in Pinal County for 25 or 19, I guess 19 years here at this address, and a few years somewhere else before that. But, and literally, she has bred dogs our entire life. She's bred horses her entire life. She's bred chickens and sells those and sells eggs and does all those kinds of things. And if we need to get sales tax and do that, which I'll look into that, but I'm pretty sure like a lot of the farm stuff is exempt. Just like, I don't know why they don't make it easy. Like when we had a gas station, and if you sell propane for this, it's exempt, but if it's sell for this, it's not exempt. It's ridiculous. They just make it even, and same across the board, make life a whole lot easier. But we've never had it for that. We have I have other businesses that I run an insurance agency. We have different compliance stuff with that, and it's all different. So working with the county as far as your people has been awesome. They've been very helpful, and can't say enough positive things about that. I do want to say a lot of the zoning and things are really vague and somewhat difficult to understand or interpret. For example, what are we going to do about people that are pet sitting in their homes? If according to the commercial kennel permit or the commercial kennel definition in zoning, if someone makes any money off of an animal, of a dog, they are required to have a commercial kennel. They're defined as a commercial kennel. So if someone, when you all go to work and you leave your dog off at the dog sitter at their house, are we going to require all of them to have commercial kennel permits? I mean, I think more importantly than this specific case, we need to address kind of some of those vague inconsistencies in the zoning. And I know that's kind of what was attempted a little bit here recently, but maybe made a couple snafus and got people's worked up over it. But hey, we're trying, right? Like that's what we want to do. Make it better, make it more clear. Shoot it. In the 19 years we've been there, nothing's changed and never knew anything. And then the fact that we've got an animal sanctuary down the road from us that has 11 pigs at least. Do I want her to go? No, I love it. I love the fact that she's down there. I think that's what our neighborhood should be. But she's clearly not in compliance with multiple aspects of zoning. And hers was swept under the rug, evidently, because she uses a certain attorney who maybe is a little bit difficult to work with. That's what I'm hearing from people in the county. Now, does that make it right? No. Do I want her to go? Hell no. I want her to be there. I want her to have that right to be there. But I want my wife to have the right to do what she wants to do. And just because certain people don't like me and don't like the fact that I'm on this irrigation board and they want to enforce these CC&Rs that are 50-something years old, when initial documents said the board should not enforce those, just because of those kinds of things, they start attacking my wife. I mean, it's kind of crazy. But sorry, I'm getting on a tangent. You had some questions.
Yeah. So you're saying you don't charge sales tax, and I get that, but you do add that to your overall income, correct? On your taxes when you do your personal tax.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we pay.
Okay, so you do add that because that would be really what Mr. Surdy was really asking.
Well, I'm sorry. Maybe a sales tax, no.
Okay, no. But so when you sell,
but do I report it to the IRS that we make
in other words,
money?
if you make $10,000 throughout the year, you add that to your guys' other income, correct?
Yes, with the IRS, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So you are paying taxes on that.
Correct.
So, okay, good. The other thing is, like I had mentioned, going down the path of the rules.
Yeah.
You know, you just mentioned the CC&Rs. We have nothing to do with that.
I got it. Yeah, I know that.
But if you're breaking the CC&Rs, you're not following their rules, correct? I'm just talking rules. I have nothing personal against you. I don't know you, but I want you to understand. We live by rules. We must follow those rules.
Correct.
If I go against rules or you go against rules, we get in trouble. So that's all I want to make up and make a point of. So,
and I want to respond to that. The CC&Rs in my opinion, do not prohibit what my wife does. Now, that's where that's kind of the whole contention of the lawsuit, and we're trying to let the courts determine that. But unless you're reading them in a way specifically to try to weaponize them against your neighbor, I don't think that's what they say.
So, Mr. Chair, just a quick question. So we don't enforce the CC&Rs. I get that. How many dogs do you have?
Currently 11, I believe.
I could read that from.
Okay, I couldn't read. I'm glad you said that.
Okay. Liberty, a special tactic. I had another question for you, and I'm sorry, I just lost it right there. I'll come back to that. For the attorneys, or for code compliance, how long is an SUP? Is there a sunset date?
I think annually, aren't they?
I remember my question that I said that.
And I actually have a question for Patrick.
And then I get another question.
Supervisor, staff can answer that. So in this case, it would be provided there was no cessation of operation for 12 months. We could certainly add a sunset clause, but given the intention of this SCP to allow a permitted use that's been operating for 19 years and to allow it to continue to operate, we did not include a sunset on this.
There's no sunset on this. So the other question is, and I'm listening to this, so CC&Rs is not the issue. Code compliance is an issue, but I mean, really it's a civil issue if we're in court, and that's not our issue at all.
Right.
And the noise would be a PCSO issue, which is also not us. So just stating that. So
I do have a question for Patrick, real quick. Can you put was it 12 stipulations?
Yes.
Do you have a slide with that?
It's broken up across a couple slides, but I'd be happy to read them off to you.
Why don't you do that?
Okay. Stipulation 1, the special use permit is issued to the land and shall be binding on the property owner from date of the Board of Supervisors' approval. 2, approval of this special use permit, SUP, will require at time of application for development that the applicant, owner, developer submit and secure from the applicable and appropriate federal, state, county, and local regulatory agencies all required applications, plans, permits, supporting documentation, and approvals. 3, the applicant shall secure and maintain a commercial kennel license issued from Pinal County Animal Control for the duration of the business operations. Applicant shall adhere to all standards as required by Pinal County Animal Control. 4, the applicant property owner shall submit a site plan application within 1 year from effective date of this resolution, or the special use permit will become null and void. 5, commercial kennel uses shall be limited to breeding operations as described in the application narrative. Expansion of commercial kennel uses shall be contingent upon amendment of the approved SCP by the Board of Supervisors. 6, SCP-01624 shall meet lighting zone 1 requirements. 7, signage on the site shall not be permitted. 8, the applicant property owner shall meet the requirements of the International Fire Code as adopted by Pinal County and administered by the Pinal County Building Safety Department. 9, a dust registration permit from the Pinal County Air Quality Control District shall be obtained prior to the disturbance of 0.1 acres or more. 10, all construction activity must conform to the earth moving activity requirements of the Pinal County Air Quality Control District. 11, a traffic impact statement may be required to be submitted to the county engineer at the time of site plan submittal for review and approval. The TIS shall comply with the current Pinal County traffic impact assessment guidelines and procedures and shall be approved prior to the site plan approval. And 12, a drainage report may be required to be submitted to the county engineer at time of site plan submittal for review and approval. The drainage report shall comply with the current Pinal County drainage manual and shall be approved prior to the site plan approval. The drainage plan shall be in accordance with the current Pinal County drainage manual. The approved drainage plan shall provide retention for stormwaters and on-lot retention area.
Okay, and the applicant is agreeable to all those stipulations, I take it?
Another quick question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, we are.
Okay, because I can tell you, like those last 3 can be difficult this subdivision was built at a time that a lot of these requirements were not implemented, which now you're going to have to bring it up to the current codes, which could be, your drainage and your traffic and all those types of things.
And Supervisor, staff has recently implemented a minor site plan review process, which we would find John's lot to be compliant, eligible for, which involves a lot of potential waivers that he could receive for those drainage requirements and traffic requirements.
That's good to know. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, just a quick question. So on the SUP, so if the civil matter were to go against Mr. Mott, would the SUP then be null and void?
By the definitions of the code, it would not, but the civil action would be a separate process. Separately.
Mr. County Attorney, thought bubble, yes.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Supervisor McClure. That is a legal question. If you did want us to answer that particular legal question, I would advise going into executive session to answer it so that we don't waive attorney-client privilege.
It's your call.
Okay.
If you want it.
Yeah,
I'm
Mr. Chair,
okay with it.
Mr. Chair, I would move that we recess the Board of Supervisors meeting and convene executive session just for a quick moment.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Just for housekeeping rules, we're still haven't even gotten to the public hearing portion of it. We're not even there yet. We'll reopen the public hearing portion of this item if everybody's done presenting. Okay, the public hearing portion is open. I do have some cards. Liz Johnson.
Hello, Chairman Miller and the board. I am reading this for Mark Linder as he couldn't get here because he had work commitments. Chairman Miller and board, I am forwarding information regarding the community in which the Mott family is asking for their SUP and their commercial kennel. This had already been sent previously to Supervisor Goodman. Note that the Motts are currently in a lawsuit regarding the existence of their kennel operation as it is a violation of our community CCNRs. While I know the county does not consider CCNRs when they're making their decisions, I ask that you at least consider the fact that the Motts are being sued over the existence of the business operation. It is not what our community wanted. There has been a lot of misinformation being spread as to how there are only one or two people who are making a code violation complaints to the county. And in the attached document, we'll prove that it is a majority of our community that is working to preserve itself. These documents were obtained from the county as part of the evidence in the lawsuit. To show it, nearly 120 reports of code violations between 2008 and 2023. The second document shows all that were reported by myself, Mark Linder, which was a total of 6 over that period of time. This means 95% of the reports came from other members of our community. We do not want this. My family and I have had to endure bullying, harassment, and a handful of community members due to speaking out against the Motts and filing a lawsuit, which has made other community members hesitant to speak out. Please deny the SUP and let our community get back to the peaceful, rural residential place that it once was. I am Liz Johnson. I live at 42475 North Jackrabbit Road. I don't have a dog in this fight, but I do live in a community like that, and I have lived next door to where they have bred dogs. And it is annoying. We had to put plywood up between our fences because we couldn't even walk out our back door. Also, animal husbandry does not go for dogs, it's for livestock. And it specifically states that it's for, you raise these animals for products like meat, milk, fiber, and eggs. Last time I checked, we don't get meat, milk, fiber, or eggs from dogs. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca Thur. Rebecca? I hope I didn't destroy your name.
Good morning. Thank you for listening to my concerns and not supporting the SUP.
State your name.
Oh, sorry. Rebecca Thur,
where you live.
39413 North Taylor Street in Santan Valley.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to my concerns of not supporting the SUP 01624 of the Mott's commercial backyard dog breeding business in my residential community. Just recently, I had all my fourth grade families over to my house at the end of the year party last week, like I've done for the past 24 years. As soon as they passed through my gate in my backyard, praises were said about where I live and how lucky, how beautiful, how peaceful. They all would want to live in a place like mine. What they don't know is what has been done to be keeping it this way. The harassment, the bullying that's been endured, just trying to protect my community. Rogue HOA board members not protecting their property values, and now I have to pray that 5 board members are going to keep the zoning rules and keep the way it is and not let the special permit used to be a wide open door to commercial into my community, especially a dog kennel. Here's my story protection of peace where I live. I live 1 street away from the proposed commercial kennel, which is an eye shot from my property, and I can hear the dogs barking. He's had on Facebook between 14 to 12 dogs, which was reported back in 2022. Reasons for denying this SUP: is there a need, or is this just agreed for to have this commercial backyard breeding kennel in my residential neighborhood? According to Pinal County Animal Control in Casa Grande, which holds 140 dogs, there are 200% over capacity right now. That's around 420 dogs, and they also have an outbreak of distemper. They're doubling up the kennels by putting doubling up the dogs in the kennels. They're using their office spaces, and they're keeping them outside because there's not enough room inside. Pinal Animal Control stated that they are taking in between 3,000 to 560 dogs a year. They're closer to the 5,000 mark, which comes to 100 dogs a week. As of right now, there are 30 pages of dogs to be adopted on their website. So again, is there a need for this backyard breeding business that's earning $2,000 to $3,000 a dog? I don't see it. This also is going to open up a wide precedence for other dog kennels in this type of zoning where there's no rules that need to be followed. You can have a kennel right next to your property line, your neighbors don't have to improve, and that they can have less than 5 acres. Shouldn't the community be able to be the ones to decide if they want this in their neighborhood, not the county? Noise. You know how much one dog barks. Try 10 to 14 dogs. Yes, you can hear 10 to 14 dogs. And this is what you're allowing in my neighborhood. Backyard breeding goes against our community CCNRs. It goes against the county's zoning, and then also the Motts have known this. There's 2 lawsuits against it. Please, I'm asking you that you not pass this and that you let the community decide what they want in their community and not the county. Thank you so much for listening to my concerns.
Thank you. AYLA Wheeler. 11. Ayla. If you'll say your name and generally where you live.
Good morning, Chairman Miller and the board. My name is Ayla Linder at 39413 North Taylor Street. I am going to be reading this on behalf of my father, Mark Linder. I'm against the granting of this SUP. For the past 15 years, our community, Country Mini Farms, has been fighting commercial encroachment on our community. Since 2008, there have been more than 120 reports of code violations made to the county in an effort to keep our residential neighborhood intact. In recent years, the number of violations has increased, and this has been caused in no small part by Mr. Mott implanting himself into our HOA board and refusing to enforce the covenants which all of the property owners have agreed to when they purchase their properties. This refusal to enforce appears to be a way for Mr. Mott to protect his own business, which he has been illegally running in our neighborhood for a number of years. Had one of our neighbors not made the county aware of the business back in 2022, it is likely that the Motts would still be operating the kennel illegally. You have all been supplied with a copy of the code violations which have been reported to the county. Mr. Mott will try to have you believe that there are only 1 or 2 people who are making the reports, but as you can see in the documents which you were emailed last night, the code violations are coming from a vast number of residents in our community. This isn't just 1 or 2 people who are wanting to keep our community intact, it is the majority of our community. Last year, an attempt was made by a small group of residents to amend our CCRs to allow businesses and commercial use of our properties, and the process failed when nearly 80% of our community voted against the changes and to preserve the rural residential qualities of the Country Mini Farm community. Last night, you were all sent supporting documentation regarding the code violation reports that have come from our community between 2008 and 2023. You will see that the reported violations are coming from a number of different community members, not just the 1 or 2 that the Motts and their supporters like to claim. The vast majority of our community wants to keep our rural residential lifestyle. As a result of Mr. Mott's words and actions within our community, and while he has served as president of our HOA board, we now have 2 active lawsuits in our community. One lawsuit is against the Motts for operating their unlicensed commercial kennel, as well as other properties which are used as commercial storage and paving operation. Any support for the Motts has come from within our community, as from a small number of residents, the majority of which do not live near the Motts. In reviewing the packet that was also given to the Board of Supervisors for this matter, it also appears that a number of letters which were submitted by the community members who were in opposition to the SUP were not included. A question should be posed to Patrick Roberts as to why these letters were not submitted with the packet to the Board of Supervisors. I want to pose one final question. On the application for the SUP, it was asked why the proposed use is needed and necessary. With Pinal County dog shelters all being at more than double their capacity, is there truly a need, and is it truly necessary to have another dog breeding kennel? Thank you.
Mike Hendricks.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Mike Hedrick. I reside in the Santan Valley, and I do represent Rebecca Theuer, Mark Linder in lawsuits pending here in Pinal County. And I just want to say that while you have the sentiment that the CC&Rs are none of your business, that's legally incorrect, because the CC&Rs establish vested rights. I suggest county attorney go back and do a first-year law school review and see that vested rights are rights that cannot be infringed upon by government action. Unlike Barack Obama, I am a constitutional law expert. And when people buy into a community with CC&Rs, they're buying into those rules. John Mott bought into those rules in 2006. And then things got really bad in 2016 when one of his religious faith friends wanted to buy 2 lots within the community, 7 acres, and build a church and a sports facility. Rebecca opposed that based on the CC&Rs. The CC&Rs were emailed to each of you straight in by me last night at 6:52 p.m. So I hope you have them, because my records show you do. And it clearly establishes, the CC&Rs clearly established that there's no place of businesses allowed. The fact that there are some businesses there, that's simply the cancer that is growing from John Mott and John Mott's friendship with Supervisor Goodman. By the way, Supervisor Goodman, if he had any honor, he would not even vote on this issue. He should recuse himself. He came to this community 15 months ago and gave a spiel about he wanted to see. He told members of the community, some of John Mott's supporters, who are also violators, the leather shop is John's neighbor next door. He told them, I'd love to see Santan Valley incorporate and go commercial. Again, he's ignoring vested rights. These are rights that, under our constitutional laws and our principles of federalism, they are rights that cannot be infringed upon by the government. John Mott has been doing this for 19 years. He claims, I didn't know, but yes, he did. Because when his friend lost their vote or their effort to come in, he ran for the board and declared that there will be no more enforcement of the CC&Rs, and that's exactly what has happened.
Okay, thank you.
I've still got 9 seconds. And the last thing, this is not animal husbandry. It's simply not animal husbandry, so I would ask you to deny the special use permit.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak on this item during this public hearing portion of this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Any more discussions, questions by the board?
Just a
few comments and even some more questions, I think, if Mr. Mott and our staff is available. One thing is it was brought up recusing myself. If I was to recuse myself because of a friendship I have with one of my constituents, I'd be recusing myself on almost every decision that we make up here. I'm pretty well known in the Santan Valley region, in the Santan Valley area. I've employed over the years multiple youth. And so on my farms and operations that I've done out here. So I know a lot of families. So as far as recusing myself, I don't see a need for that. But as I'm looking at this particular, and to my far right, I'm reminded of, and it's no secret that many of us here in this audience have been probably pulled over by a police officer at some point or another, except for Supervisor Vitiello. And the one thing to remember is that, and I can remember a couple of times I was pulled over, and in the discussion with the officer, rather than give me a ticket, exercise his ability to discretion. And he gave me a warning, and I was off and down the road. And for me to comply with the law, speeding, whatever the case may be. And there's many of us that have been in those kind of situations. One of the things of this particular board here is, this is at our discretions, SUPs are. And you mentioned that for 19 years they've been against what we consider the law, okay? But keep in mind who the five of us here. We actually are in a unique position because we set the codes, we set the ordinances, and we do those according to state statutes. We do all these things, but then there's room of being able to make adjustments, and that's what an SUP does, is it allows us to do SUPs in these particular situations as they come into before us as a board. 2020 was a big time for a lot of us. We weren't able to go to work anymore. There was a lot of people went home to do their employment, to do their work, to run their offices out of their homes. And because of that, there's still people that do that today. They run business out of their homes. And so when you look at this, I know we use the word commercial, and I think it's very loosely how we use it, and it implies that it's a big operation, when in reality it's a small business that's being operated within this community. And so, one of the things is with traffic up and down your road there, Mr. Mott, John, since we're friends, with the traffic that's going up and down, is there a lot of traffic that comes in and out of your home? Other than your kids, their ball players that come to play basketball in their backyard?
That come to our house, I think, I don't remember what we did in our some of that traffic statement, but I mean, if we sell 40 puppies in a year, we're going to have 40, maybe 80 visits in a year.
Okay.
If that answers the question.
And I know for a fact your neighbor across the street, they've got 10 kids, and I know they probably get a lot more traffic than just that right there alone, just because of their kids.
As does the church 4 doors down.
And there's 3 churches in your neighborhood, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And an A&P nursery.
Yeah, the nursery. Okay, as I'm looking at this, and part of the questions that I'm looking at, it's pretty obvious that we don't really look at we don't have anything to do with the lawsuit or the CCNRs as we go forward with this. And so I guess those are some questions that I have at this point. Is there anybody else that want to interject or have a question about?
Any questions from the other supervisors? Okay. I'm seeing none.
And I think we've heard here that he does pay the income tax on it, whether or not there's any, and I think that's a question that probably ought to be looked at. I don't know. Okay.
Has anyone sold cattle at the auction?
I have.
Have you ever paid sales tax on sales of cattle at the auction. That's who we are and what we've done.
Okay,
I
we're
mean,
kind of
I'll
straying,
look- I will look
straying
into
away
it.
from the issue.
Okay.
I don't want to get in a tax.
So anyway, if there's no other questions or anything, I'm prepared to move forward.
Okay.
Supervisor Miller, unless you have something you want to add.
No, I think I'll make a statement saying that all these SUPs are looked at separately, differently, different conditions all the time, and we put these stipulations on them. And if the client or the applicant's willing to participate in all those stipulations, because that's one of the requirements to have the SUP in place. So.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, with that being said, I would ask that we, as a board, approve item number 14 as presented with 12 stipulations.
Okay, I do have a motion to approve this item. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to say yes, or a second, because we don't enforce civil issues, and
right.
CC&Rs are civil issues, and we don't do parking. That's, again, a noise ordinance as PCSO, so I would second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay.
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 3-2. Okay. Good, Natasha? Motion passes.
Yes, Chairman.
Okay, moves us to item number 15. We also have a public hearing portion to this discussion. To a discussion to approve or disapprove ordinance number 25 PZ 027. An ordinance approving PZ 24 Treckle and I-8 LLC landowner. Patrick, are you?
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. Patrick Zay Roberts, Senior Planner, here presenting cases or items 15 and 16 for the Treckle and I-8 Industrial Park. Give me 1 second here.
I'll just make a note that we're looking at 15 and 16 together.
Okay, so this is a proposal for two cases PZ 02724 and PZPD 02523. The applicant for the project is Garrett Aldrett from the Planning Center on behalf of the Treckle and I-8 Owners LLC. And the request for the first case is to rezone from general rural GR, manufactured home, and general business CB2 to industrial zoning I2 for 43.77 acres. The request for the PZPD 02523 case is for application of a planned area development overlay district from I2 to I2 PAD. The property in question is located at the northeast corner of Interstate I-8 and South Treckle Road, west of Casa Grande in unincorporated Pinal County.
Actually, it's south of Casa Grande.
Yeah, south and west. Very true. This is a county map showing the approximate location right off the Interstate 8. And a image of the zoning of the property, MH, CB2, and general rural. The property is abutting CB2 property and CI1 properties to the northeast, and GR surrounding and to the west. This is a vicinity map showing the approximate location of other zoning districts in the area. An aerial map showing the subject site in question. The comprehensive plan designation for this property is employment, conducive to the I-2 designation proposed. This is an image looking north from the property from the site, south towards I-8, east onto the property, and west towards the neighboring sand and gravel lot. This is the preliminary site plan the applicant has provided to us. They're proposing ingress-egress along Truckle Road and potentially along the private access to the north of the site. They also share a property boundary with the ASPCA building to the northeast. This is a graphic showing the proposed development standard changes that are requested under the PAD. Largely, the development standards are proposed to be unchanged except for that increase in height designation. There is a request to increase to 60 feet for building heights. And there is also a request to remove certain limitations for restaurants under the I2 zoning category to make it more generally allowant of the restaurant use being proposed. So, some items for consideration. The submitted applications for this land use request are for approval of a rezoning and PAD overlay. If the applications are approved, the subject property will be rezoned from I2 PAD to allow development of an industrial complex on 43.77 acres of land. The property is legal access. The project provides for expansion of future industrial development along the I-8 corridor, and the proposal meets the goals of the comprehensive plan for the employment designation. Staff has received one opposition comment and one letter of support from members of the public. The letter of support discusses the following topics of improved marketability of nearby property, improved economic opportunities, and alignment with comprehensive plan vision for industrial development. And the opposition comment discussed the concerns for increased traffic if the project developed as a truck stop, potentially. Staff offers this case with one stipulation for the rezone case, PZO 2724, and 11 stipulations for the PAD case, PZPDO 1724. At this point, does the board have any questions of staff?
Any questions? No. Any questions? Okay, is the applicant here?
Chairman Miller, members of the board. My name is Garrett Aldrett with the Planning Center at 2 East Congress Street, Suite 600, Tucson, Arizona. I just wanted to start by thanking Patrick and all of staff for getting us to this moment today. And since he did a pretty good job of just laying out the basics, I'll not belabor this presentation very much and get through this as quick as I can. So going on, I just wanted to orient, if probably go to the next slide. Oh, up here. I just wanted to orient everybody to the location of the site. As you'll see, it's 43.77 acres, about 3.5 miles west of I-10 and about 1.5 miles south of the city of Casa Grande's corporate limits. Looking at what currently surrounds the site, you'll see in the notch of the property is Valley Humane Society, and then just north of that is Aniceto Road. It's currently a private roadway providing access to the Valley Humane Society. And then you have a single-family home as well as a vacant property. That vacant property is currently owned by Tim and Shirley Tate. They are also going through a similar process to rezone that vacant property and the one just north of it also to the I-2 zone. Then you can see the TP Sand and Gravels just to our west. It's currently GR zoned, but it's more of an industrial use currently occurring there. South of us, as mentioned, we're bordered by I-8 and then their ADOT maintenance yard. And then over to the east, you'll see there's quite a bit of ADOT right-of-way and Mountain View Chapel and Cemetery. Looking at the existing zoning on the site, you can see that CB2 zone borders Truckle Road. That currently allows for some of the uses that are permitted within the I-2 zone. I don't know if I'm causing that feedback or not. That currently allows some of those permitted uses, but just to create flexibility on the property and really try to entice other developers to come in and create opportunity and employment opportunity in the county, we're looking to rezone all of this to a single zone of I-2. And then, as Patrick mentioned, we have CI1 zoning just to our north and CB2, and then that GR zoning around the property. And as pointed out in the Pinal County Comprehensive Plan, that GR zoning is much of a placeholder for a lot of the county. So going on to the bubble concept plan, we currently have no end user for the site. This zoning is being done speculatively to try to bring in that interest to the property. And so we don't have what exactly it'll look like. These access points on here are conceptual at this moment. They were looked at in the TIA that was submitted with this and contemplated with any potential future layout that would include some warehouse building, restaurants, and warehouse buildings of different sizes, whether that's down to 5,000 square feet for really small users up to 50,000 square feet to 100,000 square feet. So really a range of uses that we provided so that we could get as accurate of a TIA as possible. But as I mentioned, this is being done speculatively. We don't know what this is going to end up looking like at the end. That's also why there are those 12 stipulations that staff has placed on this. And with that, I will take any questions that the board may have. Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant?
I think it's a good project.
Yeah, I want to say this is the approach I like to see, the speculative side of things where you're not having to focus on exactly one thing. You don't know what your potential buyer might be or need in that respect, and I think that approach is very wise and fair. So appreciate that. Any questions? Seeing or hearing none from the board, I will open the public hearing for both 15 and 16. Public hearing is open. Anybody would like to speak to this item? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board's pleasure.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve item 15 as presented with one stipulation.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Item number 16.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve item 16 as presented with 11 stipulations.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let's have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Brings us to item number 17 that does have a public hearing component as well. Let's see here. So it's a discussion, approval or disapproval of ordinance number 2025 PZ 029-24, an ordinance approving PZ 02924 JSH Time LLC landowner.
Good morning again.
Yep.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, Patrick Zay Roberts, Senior Planner, here presenting case PZ 02924 and PZPD 01924. This is for the Camelot at Superstition Mountain Homes project. The request is for approval of rezoning from CR1 to R9 in a planned area development overlay as an addendum to the Superstition Foothills Master Plan for an 18.89 acre single-family residential subdivision. The parcel in question is 104500210 and is located at the southeast corner of East Cloudview Avenue and South Superstition Mountain Drive in Gold Canyon in unincorporated Pinal County. The applicant for this project is Pewin Lake on behalf of JSH Time LLC for the Camelot Home Builders. This is a county map showing the approximate location in the Gold Canyon area. A local map showing the area up in the foothills of the Superstition Mountain Golf and Country Club. A zoning map showing the surrounding property zonings of CR5 and GOR to the north. This is an aerial map showing the surrounding context and the parcel in question. So the property was originally zoned CR1 as part of the Superstition Foothills Master Plan Community in 1994. This was approved in case PZ 00893. This property has remained vacant until 2003, where preparations for residential development began as part of the Silver Cholla Estates at Superstition Foothills project. That project at some point fell off, and from 2007 to 2010, there's evidence of grading and stage lot preparation The project was halted in 2008 and appears to have been abandoned after 2010. According to the Alta survey, the property shows the signs of the existing grading activity, unpaved roads, existing materials, and existing boundary walls and fencing surrounding, persistent on the site. There's some salvageable vegetation present on site with grade slopes ranging from 5% to 15%. The areas over 15% are designated as conservation open space as part of this PAD proposal. This is a development plan showing the layout of lots that's proposed on the site, varying from 65 by 160 to 115 feet by 125 feet for 3 lots. The proposal proposes a reduction in the maximum building height to 28 feet, and then a reduction in the front setbacks to 20 feet and rear setbacks to 20 feet as well, with minimum side setbacks of 6 feet and 6 feet each. The site will be accessed via South Superstition Mountain Drive, and per the submitted TIS, the proposed development will add weekly traffic volume of 474 vehicles per day to the Superstition Mountain Driveway, which currently has volume of 4,384 vehicles per day and a total capacity of 12,200 vehicles per day. The property is in flood zone X, and the provisions on site are adequate for on-site and off-site drainage. The proposed development is supported by essential utilities and public services, including water, sewer, gas, fire protection, electricity, solid waste, police, and schools. This is a map showing the proposed open space development, which includes 19.82% open space, landscaping, and pedestrian pathways. It will be part of the Superstition Mountain HOA and will share the amenities. This is a map showing the surrounding neighbors who were notified for the proposal. To date, staff has received 1 letter of support from the public outlining the need for building out all the properties of the originally approved Superstition Mountain Master Plan. 4 letters of opposition were also received expressing concerns regarding the smaller lot sizes and impact on traffic, water, and other utilities. At the March 20th public hearing, staff heard 1 comment of support and 2 letters of opposition. The support comment was noting the increased sales for downsized lot layouts for assessment villages, and the concerns discussed largely the increased density, smaller lot area, loss of water pressure, and available utilities. At the March 20th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the Commission held a public hearing and decided to approve both motions. Both passed 10-0. The first case, PZO 2924, with 0 stipulations, and case PZPD 01924 with 5 stipulations. At this point, does the board have any questions of staff?
Any questions? Any questions? I kind of do. Has water pressure been an issue up there? I mean, I usually hear from that.
There was the comment was specifically concerned that the increase of units and the larger density would contribute to that aspect, but I don't believe there's been any concerns.
That'll all
currently
be designed by the engineers. I mean,
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So the applicant may be able to speak.
So we're not dealing with, I said, utility that is no longer with us anymore, are we? So, okay. All right. Any questions of staff? Is there the applicant here?
Yes.
Wants to present? And I think I forgot to say this is 17 and 18 together. So, sure.
Chairman, board members, Sean Lake, 1744 here on behalf of Camelot Homes. It's a pleasure. I've got a 45-minute presentation that I'm going to concise down to about 2 minutes, given that we're almost lunchtime. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to say a whole lot about this project because it's an outstanding project, and I think it speaks for itself. Stat did an excellent job of explaining it, and I'm sure you've reviewed all the notes of the Planning Commission. This is 44 lots along the 16th fairway of a golf course community. These are golf course fairway lots that are going to be high-end luxury homes sold to people who want to live on the 16th fairway and back up and look, and it's in a beautiful area, a beautiful community. This is going to be a very, very, very nice project. We did extensive outreach with the neighbors and the people in the community and worked with the HOA, and I think ultimately we've agreed to a lot of concessions that are in the record of things that we're going to do to try to keep the neighbors happy and address their concerns. So we think we've got a project that warrants your support. I'll go through my presentation if you want. Other than that, I will just be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Good. Anyone have any questions of the presenter?
Just curious, what is the retail of these which the house is going to be selling for, approximately?
$1.5 million upwards. Starting, yeah. Starter homes, I think. The word, I think it was used, starter homes or affordable housing.
Right. Mr. Lake, Mr. Chair, quick question. Mr. Lake,
Sure,
quick question. Is that a home next door to this property, or is that a clubhouse?
That's a clubhouse.
Okay, I was thinking, wow, okay, they're going to.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, any other questions of the applicant?
It's a relief to get projects that are non-contentious. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Watch out for that water pressure. All right. If there's no other questions, I'm going to open up the public hearing for items 17 and 18. Anybody like to speak to this? Absolutely. Come forth.
Roberto Reveles, resident of Gold Canyon, a non-contentious neighbor to be.
Okay.
I do have some questions, so I wonder if the stipulations could be enunciated and described for us.
I believe we can have staff do that.
Of course. So PZ 02924 includes no stipulations. PZ PD 01924 includes 5 stipulations. 1, approval of the planned area development overlay case PZ PD 01924 is contingent upon the approval of rezoning case PZ 02924. 2, the development must comply with all applicable federal, state, county, and local regulations. Any deviations from these regulatory requirements must receive prior written approval before the issuance of the plat, site plan, building permits, certificates of occupancy, or any other necessary permits or certifications. 3, the density of the proposed single-family residential lot shall not exceed 2.3 dwelling units per acre. 4, a minimum of 19.82% of the development shall be allocated as open space, with at least 3.21% designated as conservation open space. 5, all existing saguaro cacti, if present on the site, must be preserved in compliance with the preservation guidelines set forth by state and county regulations.
Okay. Mr. Reveles, do you have any questions to that?
Those are very fast explanations, but as a non-contentious 32-year resident of Gold Canyon, I welcome our new neighbors, but especially holding the stipulations to preserving the natural vegetation and washes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Just for the record, Mr. Chair, I believe Mr. Roberts reads the legal disclaimers on the ads on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Practice.
He's got a side gig going. All right. Any other questions or comments? Anybody from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. The board's pleasure on item 17.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve item 17 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Item number 18.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve item 18 as presented with the 5 stipulations.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay. So we just recessed a executive session, so we don't need a motion. We can just can reconvene our executive session. And then after that, it looks like we'll have that exciting adjournment. Okay. So reconvene the executive session.
Leave executive session and reconvene the Board of Supervisors regular meeting.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
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 No further business to be before us. This meeting is adjourned.